Right now on Hoosier News Source, multiple IU fraternities placed on cease and desist.
And why Bloomington residents have noticed a strange taste in their tap water.
And I have updates on average August temperatures and this week's weather. Hoosier News Source starts now.
Hello and welcome to the 26th season premiere of Hoosier News Source. I'm Olivia Oliver.
And I'm Ashton Hackman, and we do start with breaking news. We learned shortly before this broadcast that IU placed Alpha Epsilon Pi on cease and desist effective September 13th until further notice. Multiple IU fraternities have also been placed on cease and desist for endangering others and alcohol violations. Sigma Alpha Mu was placed on the disciplinary status list on September 5th until further notice, and Sigma Phi Epsilon was placed on the disciplinary list back on September 2nd. They are still on cease and desist for new member education, but are now allowed to host events and go about normal business. IFC President Ethan Gold said in a statement, quote, IFC looks forward to partnering with the Office of Student Conduct to make sure that every fraternity is conducting safe and new educational new member programs that are producing our campus's next leaders, end quote.
The Monroe County Sheriff's Department is still looking into the death of Avery McMillan, an IU student who died on August 17th. Police say McMillan was unable to get into her apartment after returning from a party and was wandering around the building and garage when 33-year-old Eric Montgomery picked her up and took her back to his parents' house. Police later went to the house after receiving a 911 call about McMillan being unconscious, where they gave her 3 doses of Narcan, but she did not survive. Police have charged Montgomery with rape and giving alcohol to a minor. McMillan was just 20 years old.
Have you noticed a moldy smell or taste to your tap water? Our Hoosier News Source reporter Ella Rhodes is about to tell you why.
For weeks, Bloomington residents have complained about the weird taste in the tap water.
I have noticed a slight funky taste. Makes my coffee taste a little funky.
So, what's in the water?
2-methyl isoborneol, or what we call 2-MIB, and the other compound is geosmin.
Are the compounds giving the water this moldy taste? However, it's important to know
there is no real threat to human health from these compounds.
Lake Monroe supplies water to Brown, Monroe, and Jackson County. The warm weather and lack of rain creates algae blooms that cause the growth of these chemicals in the lake.
Across the globe, actually, lakes are getting warmer, and they're staying warmer longer into the fall. The city of Bloomington, there's nothing the water treatment plant can do about that.
Royer says it's hard to predict how long the algae blooms will last.
That is kind of a red flag, right? That maybe conditions in the lake aren't what we would like in terms of our water supply.
And this isn't the first time residents have noticed this problem.
The last couple of years, we've seen this taste issue come back. And that's just when the levels of algae are high enough, the treatment options they have in the plant just can't get it all out.
While we might not be able to see all the chemicals in the water that are giving it its funny taste and smell, you can try it by putting in fruit with high acidity into your water to fight the funny taste that might be in your water.
Kind of like cilantro, you hear the stories, some people love it, some people hate it.
Both Sullivan and Royer say, with time, rain, and cooler temperatures, the water should eventually start to taste like normal. For Hoosier News Source, I'm Ella Rhodes.
The city of Bloomington released a statement about their water treatment plan, and you can access their water quality reports on their website. With the rain this past weekend, hopefully some of this algae gets moved around and the water can get back to tasting normal.
Speaking of last week's rain, Kayla Craig has the latest on this week's weather forecast.
And it's been cooler this week, Kayla, but I have a feeling it's not going to stick around.
That's right, Ashton. Stick around to see the extended outlook. It is good to be back in Bloomington, though, and this August was just less than a half a degree cooler than the average August temperature for Bloomington, while last August was on the warm side with an average of 76.2 degrees. I think we can all agree that it could have been worse, though, as the coldest August in Bloomington had an average of 68.4 degrees recorded in 1915, and the hottest clocking in at 81.8 degrees as a result of the 1936 North American heat wave. Let's see what we can expect for today's weather. Today is going to be a beautiful sunny day with a high of 81 degrees. The slight breeze will help relieve some of the heat and sunshine, but it's almost fall, which means that the sun is setting earlier and earlier, which means our sunset is going to clock in at 7:26 this evening. Let's take a look at the rest of the week. This week our highs will stay in the 80s and our lows will stay around the 60s, but the sun is going to be out pretty much all week, so if you aren't already, make sure to wear your sunscreen. Stay safe and have a great week. Olivia, back to you.
Thanks, Kayla. On Thursday, September 8th, Queen Elizabeth II died at the age of 96. Buckingham Palace announced the Queen died peacefully in the afternoon at Balmoral Castle in Scotland, ending the longest reign for a constitutional monarch in British history. Her 70-year reign covered a defining era of British history and reshaped the country. Her death comes at a challenging time for Europe and has triggered an outpouring of grief and affection from both her country and the international community.
Coming up on Hoosier News Source, the Provost announced new initiatives for graduate education.
And how a pest problem is causing some problems for Greek houses.
Welcome back. H&S reporter Emma Hurwey joins us in studio with the latest on international news. Emma.
Thanks, guys. Following Queen Elizabeth II's death, the heir to the throne, her son Charles, became king. King Charles III became the oldest person to assume the throne following the death of Queen Elizabeth. Charles will be the head of state for the UK and 14 other countries, including Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. He is publicly known for speaking out about political matters and his messy divorce from Princess Diana. A date has not yet been set for his coronation. In February of 2022, Russia invaded Ukraine in a full-scale attack after years of tension between the countries. Recently, Prime Minister Volodymyr Zelensky said Ukraine's goal is to rid Russia's presence from the country, which has been active since 2014. Ukraine has begun a counteroffensive against the south and east, recently taking back 3,400 square miles of land. The war just reached its 200-day mark after Russian President Vladimir Putin invaded in February. Zelensky said he is thankful for President Biden's support. 1/3 of the country of Pakistan is underwater after historic levels of flooding. The flood has demolished roads, homes, schools, and hospitals, affecting millions of people. Pakistan's agriculture sector has been damaged greatly as crops, livestock, and more have been destroyed by the flood. The country was already dealing with an economic crisis and double-digit inflation. The flood, caused by monsoon rains, is considered a climate disaster of epic proportions, according to officials. And that's what's going on around the world. Ashton and Olivia, back to you.
Thanks, Emma. And in some exciting news, the IU Bloomington campus is in the top 30 among the nation's public universities for the second year in a row. The campus's first-year experience and study abroad programs are also in the top 5 among public universities. IU Bloomington is also ranked among the top 20 best colleges for veterans.
The IU campus bus service has switched apps for live tracking buses on campus. The department now uses Bus Genius to display bus routes, estimated stop times, as well as live location tracking for each bus. They previously used double maps to share that information.
IU Provost Rahul Srivastava announced new university initiatives they are taking to improve graduate education. Some of the initiatives include waiving the international student fee, expanding graduate student wellness offerings, and strengthening transparency in the grievance process. A new graduate student advisory committee will be made to help communicate with campus leadership. Additional long-term actions will be taken based on further recommendations from the Task Force on Graduate Education. Graduate student workers plan to hold a vote in less than 2 weeks on September 25th to decide if they will go back on strike. If a majority vote yes, another strike will begin the next day and last for 2 weeks.
Keep going.
Greek houses on campus are dealing with some unwelcome visitors right now. Several houses on campus are facing a bat problem. These flying mammals have caused fear for those living in their homes. While the chance of getting rabies from a bat is very rare, bat bites are not easily noticed since they leave little to no evidence physically. Confirmed bat infestations have happened at Beta Sigma Psi, Delta Gamma, and Kappa Alpha Theta.
We basically just trapped the bat in one of our rooms, and then we called animal control and they were able to help us out. So it was really reassuring when the bat got captured.
It is not confirmed exactly how many houses have had a visit from a bat.
H&S sports reporter Hank Joseph joins us with the latest on IU sports. Hank?
Thanks, Ashton. The men's soccer team hosted Akron on Friday night to complete its 3-game homestand. Akron came into Bloomington as the number 9 team in the country after winning their first 4 games and outscoring opponents by 10 goals. The Hoosiers were able to stymie the Akron offense all night, holding them to a single shot on goal. It was here the Hoosiers were able to strike first on a crosser to Sam Starver, who headed it in at the 12th minute to take the 1-0 lead. Indiana would then notch their second goal in the first half thanks to a beautiful pass from senior forward Carson Henderson, finished by junior Nate Ward. The IU football team would continue the winning tradition into Saturday night as they hosted the Idaho Vandals in a torrential downpour. Some students would stick around through the sloppy first half, which saw the Hoosiers trailing 10-0. The offense would wake up in the second half and score 35 points. Shivers was able to break off a 46-yard run for his second touchdown of the season and put the nail in the coffin. And it was DJ Matthews who was able to get into the end zone for a second straight week in his strong return from a season-ending knee injury a year ago as the Hoosiers won it 35-22. And after the endless Saturday night showers, the women's soccer team was forced to play in wet field conditions Sunday afternoon. The conditions gave way to sloppy play on both sides of the ball for each team, but it was Jamie Gerstenberg who continued her incredible season in goal. Gerstenberg made 5 more saves to hold the Memphis Tigers scoreless in 90 minutes of play. The Hoosiers had opportunities in the 81st minute, but were unable to convert 3 attempts inside the goal area and once again tied 0-0 for their 5th scoreless draw of the season. That's all for this week in IU Sports. Ashton, Olivia, back to you.
Thanks, Hank, and thank you for watching this week's episode of Hoosier News Source.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at IUSTV News.
I'm Olivia Oliver.
And I'm Ashton Hackman from Bloomington, Indiana. We'll see you next time.